When the Vorthon raiders attacked the transport Morning Star, they expected easy prey. They didn't account for the 3 living metal ships that materialized from nowhere, neutralizing them with effortless power. But why did these mysterious protectors intervene for one human child? And what does it mean for humanity's place in the galaxy? The Morning Star drifted through a quiet sector of space, its hull vibrating with the steady hum of engines and the breathing rhythms of 43 sleeping families. In the dim light of third watch, most crew members monitored routine systems. Then the proximity alarms shattered the silence. Vorthon raiders appeared without warning, swarming the transport vessel like hunting insects. Their ships used precision-cutting beams to breach hull sections at strategic points. Atmosphere began venting into the void as emergency barriers slammed down throughout the corridors. 8-year-old Maya found herself trapped behind a collapsing bulkhead barrier. The transparent alloy sealed just as the corridor behind her decompressed, separating her from her parents. She pressed her hands against the cold surface, watching her parents' frightened faces recede down the corridor as air rushed past them. The Vorthon boarding parties moved through the ship with predatory efficiency. They secured corridors methodically, rounding up disoriented passengers and crew. Their weapons remained set to stun, but their body language communicated clear intent. These were professional slavers, not pirates looking for quick plunder. On the bridge, Captain Lisa Park sent distress signals across every emergency channel. Her messages traveled through the empty sector, finding no patrol ships within response range. She watched the tactical display as Vorthon ships continued docking procedures. The captain ordered remaining crew to defensive positions, though they knew their small arms would be ineffective against armored raiders. Then 3 enormous vessels materialized from nowhere. They dwarfed the Vorthon ships, their structures appearing as organic-looking constructs of living metal that seemed to pulse with internal energy. These new arrivals moved with eerie, effortless power, intercepting Vorthon fighters without firing conventional weapons. The Vorthon ships simply stopped functioning. Their engines died, weapons systems went offline, and boarding craft drifted helplessly. The living metal vessels performed these neutralizations with what appeared to be energy fields or targeted system disruptions rather than destructive force. As suddenly as they had appeared, the protector vessels vanished. Only a single voice echoed through the emptiness on all frequencies, its tone human yet ancient, carrying weight beyond normal speech. One of ours was threatened. This will not happen again. Medical teams later found no physical injuries among the survivors. The Vorthon raiders were simply gone, their ships emptied of all personnel. But those who saw Maya's face noticed the change immediately. The 8-year-old's eyes now carried a depth and awareness that belonged to someone much older, as if she had witnessed something fundamental about the universe that others could not comprehend. Medical teams completed their examinations of the survivors. They found no physical injuries, no radiation exposure, no biological contaminants, but psychological evaluations revealed something deeper. Crew members showed altered neural patterns, enhanced recall of the event, and what one doctor called cognitive expansion. They could remember every detail of the attack with photographic clarity, yet couldn't describe the protector ships with any consistency. Captain Park filed her official report with Sector Command. She described the 3 vessels in precise technical terms, noting their organic metal composition and non-standard propulsion systems. Fleet Intelligence cross-referenced her descriptions against every known species database. They found no matches. The closest analogs were ancient mythological references from a dozen different cultures, all describing similar living ships from early spacefaring legends. Meanwhile, Maya underwent separate evaluation. She described hearing what she called space music during the rescue event, a harmonic resonance that vibrated through the ship's structure and seemingly through her own bones. The child drew detailed diagrams of overlapping wave patterns that matched no known acoustic science. Audio analysts confirmed the ship's recorders had captured nothing beyond normal frequency ranges. Yet Maya could hum the exact harmonics days later with perfect pitch. Security analysts began noticing a pattern across human space. Pirate and slaver attacks started failing with mathematical precision. In each case, the attackers vanished without leaving bodies or debris. Their ships were found drifting with all systems intact but completely empty of life. The incidents followed no geographical pattern, occurring simultaneously in sectors light years apart. Galactic intelligence agencies connected the incidents to the Morning Star event. The timing was too perfect, the methodology too consistent. Analysts mapped the attacks and responses, creating overlay charts that showed an invisible protective network operating across human-occupied space. The pattern suggested coordination beyond known physics, simultaneous interventions across impossible distances. Military strategists realized the implications immediately. If these protectors could neutralize threats anywhere in human space simultaneously, they had effectively created an impenetrable defense shield. This could shift the balance of galactic power fundamentally. Traditional fleet deployments and border defenses became irrelevant against an entity that operated beyond spatial constraints. Emergency council sessions were convened across multiple governments. Military leaders, scientists, and diplomats gathered in secure chambers to address the growing mystery. They shared limited intelligence, each agency holding back their most sensitive findings while trying to piece together the bigger picture. The central question emerged in every briefing. Why would these entities protect humanity specifically? Galactic history showed no precedent for such intervention. Humanity was a relatively new spacefaring species with limited influence, yet something had triggered a response beyond any proportional defense measure. Analysts reviewed every first contact scenario, every archaeological find, every genetic study. They searched for anything that might explain why humanity warranted this level of protection. The answer seemed to lie not in humanity's present circumstances, but in something far older and more fundamental about their place in the cosmos. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session within hours of the hegemony confrontation. Earth's leadership joined via secure quantum link, their faces displayed on holographic panels around the circular chamber. The atmosphere was tense, the usual diplomatic formalities abandoned for immediate crisis assessment. Council members from 17 species watched sensor recordings of the Protector intervention, each replay revealing new details about the non-combat engagement. Analysts mapped the Protector's declared protective perimeter using the hegemony engagement data. They established that all humans everywhere at all times meant exactly what it stated. The protection showed no geographical limitations or temporal restrictions. Every human settlement, ship, and individual now fell under this blanket assurance. Mapping teams created overlay charts showing human population centers across the galaxy, all now marked with the same protective status symbol. Intelligence agencies realized humans were no longer just another species in the galactic community. They had become the central point around which interstellar power dynamics would now revolve. Traditional military strategies became obsolete when dealing with a species that had instantaneous, unconditional protection from unknown entities. Every existing alliance and treaty required immediate review in light of this new reality. Governments and empires began urgent reassessments of their relationships with human space. Trade agreements were frozen pending security reviews. Military alliances were put on hold while strategists calculated the new balance of power. Diplomatic corps worked through the night to establish communication. Protocols for dealing with what they were calling the protected species phenomenon. The Protector's reach extended beyond immediate defense implications. Analysts projected this could reframe galactic stability for generations. Species that had maintained military superiority through technological advantage now faced a complete inversion of power relationships. Entities that could rewrite local physics made traditional warfare meaningless as a political tool. Earth's strategic importance multiplied beyond any previous calculation. Previously considered a mid-level developing world with limited influence, Earth suddenly became the most strategically valuable planet in known space. Every decision made on Earth now carried potential consequences for the entire galactic community. The planet transformed from political backwater to central stage in a single afternoon. Human colonies previously considered vulnerable now gained unprecedented security. Remote outposts on frontier worlds, mining operations in asteroid belts, and research stations in deep space all fell under the same protective umbrella. Colonists who had lived with constant security concerns now operated with absolute confidence in their safety. The change in psychological outlook across human settlements was immediate and profound. The Council faced the stark reality that humanity occupied a unique position in galactic politics. They weren't simply a protected species. They were the only species with demonstrated unconditional protection from entities operating beyond known physical laws. This created both opportunities and responsibilities that no civilization had ever faced before. Every decision regarding human space now carried potentially galactic consequences. A trade dispute with human merchants could escalate into a confrontation with the protectors. A border incursion near human territory might trigger another demonstration of their capabilities. The Council established new protocols requiring galactic-level consultation before any action involving human interests. Military planners created contingency scenarios for various interactions with protected space. They developed de-escalation procedures and communication guidelines for accidental encounters. The focus shifted from combat preparedness to conflict avoidance when human interests were involved. This represented a fundamental change in how galactic powers approached security planning. Diplomatic teams began drafting new interstellar agreements specifically addressing humanity's protected status. They worked to establish clear boundaries and expectations for all parties. The goal was to prevent misunderstandings that could lead to unnecessary confrontations. This diplomatic effort became the highest priority for multiple governments simultaneously. The emergency session lasted 37 hours without break. Council members reviewed evidence, analyzed implications, and developed initial response frameworks. They established a permanent liaison office dedicated to human protector relations. This new department would coordinate all galactic interactions involving humanity's unique status. Earth's representatives provided full cooperation while maintaining their own investigations into the protector phenomenon. They shared relevant information while protecting sensitive human security interests. The collaboration established a precedent for how humanity would engage with the galactic community under its new circumstances. The session concluded with a unanimous resolution acknowledging humanity's protected status as a galactic reality. All member species agreed to respect the protector's boundaries and work toward peaceful coexistence. This formal recognition marked a turning point in interstellar relations that would define the next era of galactic history. The first reports came in from scattered colonies across human space. Medical facilities documented unusual cases that defied standard diagnostics. Approximately 1% of the human population began demonstrating enhanced cognitive and perceptual abilities. The manifestations showed no geographical pattern, appearing simultaneously on frontier worlds and core planets alike. Initial cases involved seemingly minor phenomena. Individuals predicting mechanical failures before sensors registered problems, others identifying illness through non-visual cues. Telepathic connections formed without technological assistance. Previously unconnected individuals began sharing thoughts across interstellar distances. The connections bypassed normal communication channels, operating instantaneously without light-speed delay. Communication centers recorded anomalous data streams that matched no known transmission protocols. These psychic links demonstrated structured information exchange rather than random thought transfer. Communities with higher concentrations of awakened individuals showed evidence of collective consciousness. Groups began solving complex problems with coordinated precision that required no verbal communication. Engineering teams completed projects with perfect synchronization across different work sites. Medical staff coordinated emergency responses with preemptive awareness of resource needs and personnel requirements. The harmonized decision-making operated with efficiency beyond any command structure. Children demonstrated the most pronounced awakening effects. Those like Maya from the Morningstar incident served as natural conduits for the emerging abilities. Pediatric wards reported cases where children communicated with parents light years distant without technology. Classrooms became hubs of spontaneous information sharing that transcended language barriers. The younger generation adapted to these new capabilities with intuitive understanding that adults struggled to achieve. The evolving awareness rippled through networks of awakened minds. Each new connection seemed to strengthen the overall network's capacity. The effect resembled neural pathway formation on a planetary scale. Communities reported shared dreams and synchronized creative insights. The awakening showed properties of both biological evolution and technological network growth, blending organic development with system-wide integration. This shift coincided perfectly with new artifact studies from Kepler 442b, and other archaeological sites. Researchers noted correlations between ancient symbols and the emerging human abilities. The timing suggested the Protector intervention had activated dormant genetic programming. The parallel development of planetary defense capabilities and human evolution appeared coordinated rather than coincidental. Medical teams documented unusual neural activity across multiple populations. Brain scans showed previously unrecorded activation patterns and energy signatures. The changes affected both conscious and subconscious mental processes. Neurology departments established special research wings to study what they termed transcendent cognitive manifestations. The biological changes appeared permanent and self-sustaining once initiated. The awakening followed specific patterns that matched prophecies found in the ancient ruins. The timing, distribution, and nature of the abilities aligned with archaeological predictions. This suggested the process was neither random nor accidental, but part of a deliberate design. The Protector's intervention seemed to have triggered humanity's genetic potential, according to some ancient blueprint. The Protector event appeared to have activated fundamental biological mechanisms. Genetic analysis revealed previously dormant sequences becoming active across the population. The changes affected neural development, sensory perception, and information processing capabilities. The transformation operated at the cellular level, modifying how humans interacted with reality itself. This biological awakening complemented the external protection now shielding human space. Dr. Elena Vasquez's team was conducting a standard archaeological survey on Kepler 442b when their ground-penetrating sensors detected massive artificial structures buried beneath the surface. The initial scans revealed geometric precision that defied natural formation. The team began excavation, uncovering vast chambers and corridors constructed from an alloy that had resisted millions of years of planetary weathering. The scale of the ruins suggested a civilization capable of planetary engineering on a monumental level. Inside the main chamber, the team found walls covered in intricate symbols and glyphs. Linguists and geneticists worked together to decode the patterns, making a startling discovery. The symbols weren't just random markings. They formed precise representations of human DNA sequences. Every base pair, every chromosome marker matched modern human genetic coding with exact precision. The alignment was too perfect to be coincidence or convergent evolution. Further artifacts told a story through both imagery and embedded data crystals that surviving technology could partially decode. They spoke of a first journey and seeds scattered among the stars. The narrative described intentional placement of biological material on habitable worlds across the galaxy. This suggested populations weren't evolving independently, but were deliberately established by some prior advanced human lineage. Earth's natural evolutionary narrative suddenly appeared incomplete. The timeline of human development no longer fit the evidence. These ruins predated Earth's earliest civilizations by millions of years. The implication was clear. Humanity hadn't evolved solely on Earth but had been placed there as part of a larger galactic dispersal. Genetic analysis teams confirmed the markers weren't merely similar to human DNA. They were identical. The sequences matched chromosome for chromosome, gene for gene with modern humans. This went beyond common ancestry. It indicated a direct biological relationship across unimaginable timescales. This discovery forced a complete reevaluation of humanity's historical timeline. Archaeologists, historians, and biologists convened emergency conferences to reconcile the new evidence. Textbooks required rewriting. Historical models needed complete overhaul. The very definition of human origins was now in question. The ruins contained additional evidence suggesting cycles of civilization. Wall carvings showed repeated patterns of human societies rising to technological sophistication, then apparently vanishing or transcending to some higher state. Each cycle left behind artifacts and ruins, each building upon the previous iteration's knowledge. The Protector's intervention during the Morning Star incident now appeared part of this much larger pattern. Their appearance wasn't random protection of a vulnerable species, but rather the activation of some ancient safeguard. The living metal ships, their instantaneous response capability, their non-destructive neutralization methods, all suggested technology far beyond current human understanding. yet somehow connected to humanity's deeper history. This revelation shifted the question from why are they protecting us to what are we that requires this level of protection. The answer seemed to lie in humanity's true nature as a deliberately seeded species with a cyclical history of advancement and transformation. The Kepler 442b discovery provided the first concrete evidence that humanity's story was far grander and more complex than anyone had imagined. The Hegemony invasion force entered human space with overwhelming firepower. Their fleet consisted of thousands of warships organized into precise attack formations. They targeted the outer colonies first, moving systematically toward more populated systems. Human defense forces scrambled to respond but found themselves outgunned and outmaneuvered at every turn. The Hegemony tactics showed careful study of human military capabilities and weaknesses. Just as colonial governments began issuing evacuation orders, 3 familiar vessels materialized at the battlefront. The protector ships appeared exactly as they had during the Morningstar incident, massive living metal constructs that seemed to warp space around themselves. They positioned themselves between the Hegemony fleet and the human colonies without any visible propulsion systems. The protectors didn't engage in conventional combat. They didn't fire weapons or deploy countermeasures. Instead, they began rewriting the fundamental physics of the battlefield. Hegemony ships started coming apart at the molecular level, disassembling into inert debris without explosions or energy signatures. The process was silent, methodical, and terrifyingly precise. Warships that had been advancing moments earlier became clouds of non-reactive particles drifting in space. The transformation occurred simultaneously across the entire Hegemony formation, showing coordination beyond any known communication technology. Sensors showed no energy spikes, no weapon signatures, no detectable causation. The protectors simply made the hostile ships cease to exist as functional vessels. A voice broadcast across all frequencies then, the same ancient human tone heard during the Morningstar rescue. It spoke with absolute clarity and finality. Humanity is under protection. This protection extends to all humans everywhere at all times. The statement carried no emotional inflection, yet conveyed immense weight and authority. The voice continued with chilling precision. Those who threaten protected individuals will face consequences appropriate to their actions. The wording suggested careful calibration rather than random punishment. The protectors measured responses to match the level of threat presented. The final statement left no room for negotiation. This is the only warning. The simplicity of the message made it more powerful than any detailed threat could have been. The protectors had demonstrated their capabilities and stated their terms in 3 concise declarations. The demonstration confirmed the protectors operated beyond conventional warfare paradigms. They didn't fight battles, they simply enforced their will upon reality itself. Military analysts watching the event realized they were observing something that defied all known combat, doctrines and strategic principles. Galactic powers monitoring the confrontation understood the implications immediately. No traditional weapon could challenge entities that could rewrite physics locally. No shield could protect against something that didn't attack, but simply caused things to stop being. The entire concept of military superiority became meaningless against such capabilities. The Hegemony remnants withdrew immediately, their surviving ships retreating at maximum speed. They left behind only dissipating clouds of molecular debris where their attack fleet had been. Human defense forces stood down, watching the protector ships vanish as suddenly as they had appeared. The battle had lasted less than 3 minutes from first appearance to final withdrawal. Intelligence agencies across the galaxy began urgent reassessments of human space. Every military plan, every border defense strategy, every offensive doctrine required complete revision. The rules of interstellar conflict had changed fundamentally in those 3 minutes. Humanity had become protected space in the most literal sense possible. Commander Kane materialized in the Earth leadership chamber without warning. He appeared physically solid yet slightly out of phase with normal reality, his form shimmering with contained energy. The security systems registered no breach, no transport signature, no energy spike. He simply stood among Earth's leaders as if he had always been there. His appearance showed human features refined to their essential form, with eyes that held starfields within their depths. The Terran Ascendi representative identified himself with calm authority. He revealed his people were humanity itself, transformed through a cyclical evolutionary process that occurred across vast timescales. They had achieved this state through conscious development of human potential, combined with technological mastery beyond current understanding. Their transformation represented a natural progression of human capabilities rather than external intervention. He disclosed that the Ascendi expedition had left Earth 50 years earlier on what was publicly labeled an experimental deep space mission. Their true purpose was to verify ancient signals suggesting humanity's broader galactic presence. They found overwhelming evidence of human civilizations that predated Earth's recorded history by millions of years. The discoveries included abandoned cities, genetic archives, and technological remnants that showed clear human design principles. The Ascendi maintained constant monitoring of Earth and human colonies, but followed strict non-intervention protocols. They only activated protection systems when survival logic demanded immediate action. Their intervention threshold required clear existential threats to human continuity. The Morningstar incident had triggered this response because it represented a pattern of aggression that threatened human expansion and development. Commander Kane explained that humanity's ancestors already existed among the stars before Earth's documented history began. The planet served as one of many cultivation sites where human potential could develop under controlled conditions. This explained the genetic markers found on Kepler 442b and other archaeological sites. Earth's human population was part of a much larger biological and cultural continuum. The protectors were descendants of this expansive human lineage, beings who had transformed their physical existence into states of pure energy and consciousness. They maintained connection with their biological origins while operating on entirely different physical principles. Their capabilities appeared miraculous because they worked with fundamental reality, rather than manipulating it through external technology. Commander Kane delivered the defining statement with precise clarity. These are the Terran ascendancy. They are what humanity becomes given enough time and resources. The declaration carried the weight of witnessed evidence rather than speculative future. He spoke of humanity's potential as already demonstrated fact, rather than theoretical possibility. Earth's role shifted immediately in the leadership's understanding. The planet transformed from vulnerable frontier world to critical cradle for a civilization that had already demonstrated its ultimate potential. This changed strategic priorities from defense and survival to cultivation and development. Earth became the foundation for something far greater than previously imagined. The reveal explained why the protectors intervened specifically for humanity. They weren't external saviors or benevolent aliens. They were humanity's future self protecting its past, ensuring the continuity of their own existence across time. This created a closed temporal loop, where protection became self-perpetuating across evolutionary cycles. The implications redefined human identity and purpose. Humanity wasn't a young species finding its way in a dangerous galaxy. They were the current manifestation of an ancient continuum that had already achieved transcendence. This knowledge shifted perspectives from survival to actualization, from fear to purposeful development toward known potential. With the Ascendi's direct guidance, installation teams began deploying energy barriers around every human-inhabited world. The barriers manifested as shimmering force fields that surrounded planetary bodies in precise orbital patterns. They remained invisible to normal human vision, but registered clearly on all sensor systems. The energy signatures showed complex harmonic frequencies that defied conventional energy field analysis. Each barrier formed a near-impenetrable protective net around its designated world. The fields operated on principles that prevented unauthorized entry, while allowing free passage to approved vessels. They could distinguish between natural space debris and intentional threats with perfect accuracy. The system provided complete planetary coverage without interfering with orbital operations or communications. Monitoring stations appeared throughout human-occupied star systems. These facilities maintained constant surveillance across all frequencies and dimensional planes. They tracked ship movements, energy fluctuations, and potential threats with uncompromising precision. The stations operated autonomously, requiring no human supervision or maintenance intervention. These monitoring networks enabled instantaneous responses to any perceived threats. The system could neutralize hostile actions before they reached critical stages, It prevented hostile incursions by identifying intent through advanced pattern recognition and predictive analysis. The response mechanisms operated with surgical precision, targeting only the threatening elements while leaving everything else unaffected. Humanity's role shifted from defensive postures to active guardianship. Military forces repurposed their capabilities for rescue operations and disaster response. Ships designed for combat were retrofitted with medical facilities and humanitarian aid capacity. The focus moved from protection through force to protection through presence and assistance. Protector-level capabilities translated into new governance and diplomatic frameworks. Human representatives gained unprecedented influence in galactic affairs. They could guarantee security for trade routes, facilitate conflict resolution, and provide emergency assistance across species boundaries. This created a new model of interstellar relations based on mutual protection, rather than mutual deterrence. The energy barriers symbolized the formalization of humanity's new status. They represented visible, physically manifested protection that anyone could verify through sensors. The barriers served as constant reminders that human space operated under different rules than the rest of the galaxy. They became landmarks on navigation charts and points of reference for interstellar travel. The Ascendi pledged continuous safeguarding of their biological predecessors. They committed to maintaining protective measures while respecting human autonomy. This required constant balancing between providing security and allowing natural development. The arrangement acknowledged that overprotection could stifle the very growth they sought to nurture. This balance walked the delicate line between freedom and safety. The Ascendi intervened only when absolutely necessary, allowing humans to solve their own problems whenever possible. They provided resources and knowledge without imposing solutions or dictating outcomes. This approach preserved human agency while ensuring survival. The protection systems maintained careful equilibrium between intervention and independence. They allowed normal space operations to continue without restriction, while monitoring for existential threats. Commercial shipping, scientific exploration, and cultural exchange proceeded without interference. Only actions that threatened human continuity triggered protective responses. The implementation transformed human psychology across all colonies. People lived with fundamental security that previous generations could only imagine. This changed how humans approached risk, exploration, and relationships with other species. The knowledge of guaranteed protection created new possibilities for growth and development. Human engineers studied the barrier technology under Ascendi supervision. They learned to maintain and operate the systems without fully understanding their underlying principles. This hands-on experience provided gradual insight into advanced physics and energy manipulation. The learning process itself became part of human development. The barriers established clear boundaries for protected space. Every species now understood exactly where human territory began and what protections applied. This clarity reduced accidental conflicts and misunderstandings. It created stable frameworks for interstellar commerce and diplomacy. Galactic navigation charts were updated to show protected human space. Shipping lanes were rerouted to respect the new boundaries. Trade agreements were modified to account for the changed security environment. The entire galactic community adjusted to humanity's new protected status. The protection network represented both shield and responsibility. Humanity gained security, but also accepted duties toward other species. The barriers marked not just protected space, but also the boundaries of human influence and obligation. They defined where human guardianship began and ended. Dr. Marcus Webb and Dr. Lucy Park assembled the largest historical synthesis project ever attempted. They worked from a secure research facility buried deep within the lunar crust, surrounded by data streams from archaeological sites across human space. Their team included geneticists, archaeologists, and historians working in coordinated shifts. They cross-referenced findings from Kepler 442b with newly discovered ruins on 12 other worlds. The emerging pattern showed clear evidence of intentional human dispersal. Their research concluded humanity did not evolve naturally on Earth. The genetic markers matched too perfectly, across sites separated by millions of years and light-years of space. The evidence pointed toward deliberate placement rather than random evolution. The DNA sequences showed engineering signatures that natural processes could not produce. This finding overturned centuries of scientific understanding about human origins. The synthesis revealed humanity was placed on Earth by previous cycles of advanced human civilization. These earlier iterations had developed the capability to seed life across the galaxy. They designed humanity as what the records called a seeded species meant to grow and discover independently. Each cycle allowed for fresh development while building upon previous knowledge stored in genetic and archaeological archives. This cyclical history explained why the Ascendi valued human self-determination above direct intervention. They understood that forced development produced inferior results compared to organic growth. The records showed multiple cycles where excessive guidance had led to stagnation or failure. The most successful iterations occurred when humanity discovered its potential through independent exploration and struggle. The Ascendi guided development. From behind the scenes rather than exercising direct control, they provided subtle nudges through genetic programming and environmental factors. Their interventions were designed to be invisible to the developing civilization. This approach allowed humanity to maintain the illusion of complete independence while benefiting from ancestral wisdom. Webb's assessment pushed Earth's leadership to confront deeper questions of identity and purpose. If humanity was deliberately engineered rather than naturally evolved, what did that mean for human dignity and value? The philosophical implications rippled through academic and religious institutions worldwide. Every belief system required re-examination in light of the new evidence. The question of what it meant to be human became suddenly complex. Were humans independent beings or part of some larger design? Did engineered origins diminish human achievement or redefine it? These questions sparked intense debate across all levels of society. People grappled with fundamentally changed self-perception. Humanity's purpose and destiny required complete redefinition. The old narratives of random evolution giving meaning through struggle no longer applied. Instead, humans faced the reality of being part of a deliberate continuum with specific developmental goals. This changed how people viewed their individual roles within the larger human story. Earth's future became a unique crossroads between past and future. The planet now served as the connection point between ancient cycles and emerging potential. This position created both opportunities and responsibilities beyond any previous human experience. Earth's decisions would affect not just current generations but the entire cyclical process. The discovery reframed every aspect of human culture and self-understanding. Art, literature, and philosophy began exploring themes of engineered existence and cyclical destiny. Educational systems incorporated the new historical framework into their curricula. Religious institutions developed new interpretations that accommodated both scientific evidence and spiritual traditions. Humanity's relationship with time itself changed profoundly. The cyclical model showed that human development operated on scales far beyond individual lifetimes or even civilizations. This created both humility about human significance and awe about human potential. People began seeing themselves as part of something vastly larger than previously imagined. The Synthesis Project continued expanding as new discoveries emerged. Webb and Park established a permanent research institute dedicated to understanding humanity's full history. Their work became the foundation for all future human development planning. The cyclical model provided both warning and guidance for avoiding previous iterations' mistakes while achieving their successes. Sovereign, Krall's fleet emerged from jump space in perfect formation, tens of thousands of warships moving as a single coordinated entity. This wasn't another border skirmish or tactical strike. The assault represented their final conquest bolt, designed to achieve total victory through overwhelming force and precision timing. Their strategy showed evolution from previous failures, incorporating new understanding of human vulnerabilities. The hegemony objective extended beyond physical annihilation. Intelligence intercepts revealed they sought to hijack humanity's awakening process itself. Their planners had studied the emerging psychic phenomena and designed countermeasures that turned human strength into vulnerability. This represented a fundamental shift in warfare philosophy. Attacking consciousness rather than infrastructure, they deployed a synthetic psionic virus through specialized emitter ships, positioned throughout the battle formation. The weapon was designed to trigger instantaneous but destabilizing transcendence across the human population. It operated by amplifying natural psychic abilities to critical overload levels. The effect would cascade through awakened human networks with exponential speed. This psychic backlash would have shattered human consciousness across the galaxy. The virus didn't kill physically, but instead fragmented coherent thought patterns into chaotic noise. Victims would remain biologically alive but mentally scattered beyond recovery. The attack targeted the very cohesion that made humanity unique among species. Dr. Webb's research team detected the virus signature milliseconds after deployment. Their sensors showed the psionic waveform propagating toward human populations. Standard defensive measures would have been useless against this non-physical threat. The protection barriers weren't designed to stop energy patterns that operated on consciousness itself. Maya's circle of awakened individuals felt the incoming wave as a dissonant harmonic. They recognized the threat immediately through their enhanced perception. Conventional defense was impossible. The virus moved at thought speed and bypassed physical barriers. The only possible response required understanding the weapon's nature completely. The crisis prompted a decision that seemed to defy military logic. Instead of trying to stop the unstoppable, they would guide the awakening process intentionally. This meant using the hegemon's own weapon against them, by transforming its destructive purpose. The approach recognized that some forces cannot be blocked, but must be redirected. They would use the synthetic virus to trigger controlled transcendence, rather than chaotic fragmentation. This required perfect calibration of the awakening process across millions of individuals simultaneously. The plan leveraged the virus's energy while reshaping its fundamental effect on human consciousness. The coordination demanded absolute precision across awakened human networks. Maya's group became the control center, synchronizing responses across light years of space. They established harmonic counter-frequencies that would interact with the virus in specific ways. The preparation resembled orchestrating a galactic-scale symphony of consciousness. Humanity's fate hinged on turning a fatal threat into a controlled crucible. Success would mean emerging stronger through managed transformation. Failure would mean psychological fragmentation beyond recovery. The stakes represented the ultimate test of human unity and adaptability. The decision carried almost reckless ambition in its scale and complexity. It assumed capabilities that had never been demonstrated under combat conditions. It required trusting unproven psychic coordination across vast distances. The plan balanced on the knife edge between evolutionary breakthrough and catastrophic collapse. Every awakened human became part of the response network. Their combined consciousness formed a living shield against the psionic attack. The preparation created a distributed processing system that could handle the virus's energy load. This represented the first intentional use of human psychic convergence as a defensive weapon. The hegemony watched their sensors, expecting to see human networks collapsing into chaos. Instead, they detected unexpected harmonic stabilization across human space. Their weapon was being absorbed and transformed rather than causing destruction. This defied all their psychological warfare models and strategic predictions. Sovereign Krall's command ship registered the anomaly, but maintained course. Their planners had anticipated various countermeasures, but not this complete repurposing of their primary weapon. The battle had shifted from physical confrontation to a contest of conscious control. Dr. Webb initiated the emergency protocol with calm precision. His team established a network connection that linked every awakened human across colonized space. The psionic virus was already spreading at light speed, its destructive waveform propagating through human consciousness. Webb's plan required redirecting that energy rather than blocking it. He coordinated with medical teams and psychic specialists to establish harmonic counterfrequencies. They would deliberately trigger human ascent in controlled stages. This meant guiding the transformation process that the hegemony weapon was designed to force chaotically. The approach recognized that evolution could be managed rather than suffered. Teams established stabilization points throughout human space, where the transformation could be monitored and directed. These stations served as anchors for the emerging consciousness network. Maya volunteered without hesitation to serve as the focal point. She positioned herself at the central coordination facility, connecting directly with the main harmonic emitter. Her unique sensitivity made her the ideal conduit for synchronizing millions of awakening minds. She became the stable reference point around which the transformation could organize itself. Her calm presence provided the coherence needed for the dangerous procedure. She became a living locus through which awakened minds could synchronize. Her consciousness expanded to accommodate the incoming data streams from across human space. She maintained individual connections while synthesizing them into a unified whole. The process required perfect emotional control and mental discipline. Maya's training during the awakening period prepared her for this exact responsibility. The moment fused scientific understanding, human will, and deep empathy into a single coordinated effort. Researchers provided the technical framework for managing the energy transfer. Psychic specialists maintained the emotional stability of the network. Maya integrated these elements through her unique connection capabilities. The collaboration represented humanity's full potential working in perfect harmony. The old ways of mystery and accidental discovery gave way to conscious intention. Previous evolutionary leaps had occurred through crisis and random chance. This time humanity directed its own transformation with clear purpose and understanding. The shift marked a new phase in human development, where growth became intentional rather than reactive. This conscious evolution created stronger, more stable results. As Maya's presence intensified throughout the network, survivors across colonies sensed a shared future becoming possible. People reported feeling connected to something larger than themselves. The fear and confusion caused by the psionic attack transformed into purposeful coordination. Individuals discovered they could contribute to the network's stability through focused intention and emotional control. The galaxy's trajectory hinged on humanity's unique capacity to remember and reconstitute itself. This ability to learn from past cycles while building toward future potential became the key to survival. The hegemony weapon assumed humanity would fracture under pressure. Instead, the attack revealed humanity's fundamental cohesion and adaptability. This capacity for unified response under extreme pressure defined the species' galactic role. This wasn't just about survival, it represented evolution directed by conscious choice. Humanity took control of its developmental path rather than following predetermined patterns. The decision to guide the transformation demonstrated maturity beyond previous cycles. This conscious evolution created possibilities that random development could never achieve. The process balanced natural growth with intentional direction. The pivot represented a fundamental shift in how civilizations face existential threats. Instead of reacting defensively, humanity transformed the threat into opportunity. This approach required understanding the attack's nature completely and using that knowledge creatively. The strategy showed that some dangers cannot be avoided but must be incorporated and repurposed. This philosophical shift would influence galactic conflict resolution for generations. As dawn's light touched the eastern hemisphere of Earth, the unified consciousness of awakened humanity reached critical coherence. Individual mental capacities synchronized into a single harmonious network, operating with precision across interstellar distances. Maya's coordination allowed millions of minds to function as one integrated system, their combined focus directed toward the incoming threat. Sovereign Krall's stellar disruptor activated exactly as planned, its energy beam targeting Sol with annihilating force. The weapon should have triggered a catastrophic solar expansion that would vaporize Earth within minutes. Instead, the energy met coordinated resistance from the human collective consciousness. The disruptor's waveform encountered counter-frequencies that matched and neutralized its destructive harmonics. The human network didn't attempt to destroy the weapon or block its energy. They analyzed its fundamental operating principles and rewrote its purpose through conscious intervention. The disruptor's massive energy output was captured, stabilized, and redirected according to human intention. This required perfect understanding of stellar mechanics and energy transformation physics. The weapon transformed from destruction tool to preservation instrument. Its energy beam shifted from explosive frequency to stabilizing resonance. Solar observers recorded the sun's activity patterns stabilizing beyond normal parameters. The star's lifespan extended measurably as the energy infusion strengthened its core processes. What was designed to cause extinction instead ensured longevity. This reversal of the weapon's function demonstrated a new paradigm of conflict resolution. Humanity didn't defeat the attack through superior force, but through superior understanding. They turned the hegemony's greatest weapon into their most valuable gift. The transformation showed that true power lay not in destruction, but in reclamation. The event rewrote the fundamental physics of warfare. Consciousness and cooperation became technologies more powerful than any weapon system. The human collective demonstrated that coordinated intention could alter physical reality at stellar scales. This represented a shift from external technology to internal capability as the primary tool of civilization. The Ascendi monitoring the event responded with what sensors registered as joyful laughter. Their reaction contained recognition of long-awaited evolutionary progress. The laughter signaled approval of humanity's chosen path, transcendence achieved through compassion rather than conflict. It acknowledged that humanity had finally understood its true potential. This transcendence arrived without losing human compassion or connection. The awakening enhanced individual awareness while strengthening collective bonds. People reported deeper empathy and understanding alongside their expanded capabilities. The transformation preserved human values while expanding human potential. This balance between growth and humanity defined the new era. Solar scientists confirmed the sun's enhanced stability would benefit Earth for millennia. The redirected energy created protective harmonics that reduced solar flare risks and maintained optimal planetary temperatures. The HFY weapon became a permanent enhancement to humanity's home system. This ironic outcome demonstrated the unpredictability of conscious evolution. Galactic observers recorded the event as a turning point in interstellar relations. The demonstration showed that advanced civilizations could resolve conflicts without destruction. Humanity's approach created a template for turning threats into opportunities. This philosophy would influence diplomatic strategies across known space. The successful transformation validated Webb's risky strategy and Maya's coordination. Their leadership during the crisis established new models for emergency response. The event proved that conscious evolution could be managed successfully under extreme pressure. This knowledge would guide humanity's future development. Humanity emerged from the crisis stronger and more unified than before. The attempted attack became the catalyst for final integration of awakened capabilities. The collective now operated with confidence born of surviving ultimate threat through unity. This confidence would shape humanity's role as galactic guardians. The event concluded with the human network voluntarily dispersing its intense coordination. Individuals returned to normal consciousness while maintaining their enhanced connections. The crisis had forged permanent bonds that would endure beyond the immediate threat. Humanity had passed its ultimate test through unity and understanding. Maya's transformation from the frightened child on the Morning Star to planetary ambassador occurred through careful stages. Her unique sensitivity made her the natural bridge between awakened humanity and a skeptical galaxy. She underwent extensive training to develop her innate abilities while maintaining her essential human qualities. Her role required balancing extraordinary capabilities with relatable human presence. Her psychic capacities expanded to coordinate thousands of awakened minds across interstellar distances. She could maintain individual connections while synthesizing them into coherent networks. This allowed humanity to respond to crises with unified precision that bypassed normal communication delays. Her coordination enabled real-time problem-solving across light years of separation. Maya's communication abilities developed beyond technological limitations. She could transmit complex information instantaneously without signal degradation or latency. This made her invaluable for first contact scenarios and diplomatic negotiations. Species that distrusted technology found her direct mental communication more authentic and reliable. She became the living embodiment of humanity's new cosmic role. Her presence demonstrated that power and compassion could coexist. She showed other species that awakened humanity remained fundamentally human, despite enhanced capabilities. This reassurance helped overcome initial fears about human transformation. First contact procedures that previously required years of preparation now happened through Maya's direct involvement. She could establish understanding with newly encountered species within hours. Her ability to convey cultural context and intentions prevented misunderstandings that might have led to conflict. She became humanity's most effective diplomatic tool. Her presence consistently demonstrated that humanity's power came with deep responsibility. She never used her abilities for coercion or manipulation. Instead, she facilitated mutual understanding and cooperative solutions. This established trust where suspicion might otherwise have dominated interspecies relations. Maya proved that awakening didn't mean losing human connection or compassion. She maintained personal relationships while fulfilling her ambassadorial duties. Her ability to balance extraordinary responsibilities with ordinary human interactions became a model for others developing enhanced capabilities. She showed that evolution could enhance rather than erase humanity's essential qualities. Her personal journey mirrored humanity's larger transformation. She evolved from protected individual to protector of others. This parallel development made her the perfect representative for humanity's new role. She understood both the vulnerability of being protected and the responsibility of providing protection. She became the recognizable face of galactic guardianship across known space. Her image represented humanity's commitment to peaceful coexistence and mutual protection. Other species came to see her as both symbol and substance of humanity's changed role. Her consistency and reliability built confidence in human leadership. Maya never forgot her origins as the child saved on the Morning Star. This memory kept her grounded in human experience despite her extraordinary capabilities. She frequently referenced that moment when explaining humanity's protective philosophy to other species. The story helped them understand why humanity took its guardianship role so seriously. Her work established protocols for interstellar relations that emphasized protection over domination. She helped create frameworks for conflict resolution that focused on understanding rather than victory. These systems became standard practice across multiple species and governments. Maya's transformation showed that individual development could reflect species evolution. Her personal growth paralleled humanity's collective advancement. This connection between individual and species development became a key principle in human education systems. It helped people understand their role in humanity's continuing evolution. She remained accessible to ordinary humans while performing extraordinary duties. This accessibility reinforced that awakened humanity hadn't become distant or detached. Her ability to move between different levels of interaction demonstrated the integration of human and transcendent qualities. Maya's legacy became the model for future human ambassadors and guardians. Her approach balanced capability with compassion, power with responsibility. This established the pattern for humanity's ongoing role in galactic affairs. Her influence would shape interstellar relations for generations to come. Humanity established itself as galactic guardians rather than conquerors. This role shift transformed interstellar relations fundamentally. Human ships now patrolled trade routes as protective escorts rather than military forces. Their primary mission became ensuring safe passage for all species operating within protected zones. This guardianship model replaced previous systems of territorial control and border enforcement. The energy barriers surrounding human worlds created secure zones for interspecies contact. These fields allowed free movement while preventing unauthorized aggressive actions. Exploration vessels from multiple species could now operate with reduced security concerns. The barriers provided physical demonstration of humanity's commitment to peaceful coexistence. They became meeting points for cultural and scientific exchange rather than defensive perimeters. Human fleet operations pivoted completely from military to humanitarian roles. Warships were reconfigured as rescue vessels and research platforms. Their advanced systems now serve disaster response and scientific discovery. Medical frigates could reach crisis zones across the galaxy within hours. Research vessels offered their findings freely to all species without restriction or compensation. Slave markets across known space began collapsing spontaneously. Awakened humans appeared at trafficking centers without warning. They didn't confront slavers with force but simply made their operations impossible. Slave collars would unlock themselves. Holding cells would open without mechanism. The traders found themselves unable to continue their business through any means. The liberation occurred through changing reality rather than confronting oppressors. Archaeological research became truly collaborative across species boundaries. Teams from multiple civilizations worked together at discovery sites. They shared findings immediately through open databases. The Kepler 442b revelations had shown that galactic history was interconnected. This understanding fostered cooperation rather than competition for knowledge. Research vessels from different species now routinely partnered on excavation projects. Humanity's protection extended beyond its own species to any civilization seeking peace. The criteria were simple: cease aggressive actions and respect other species' sovereignty. Those who met these conditions received the same security guarantees as human colonies. This offer transformed galactic politics from conflict-based to cooperation-based systems. Multiple previously isolated species now engaged openly with the interstellar community. Healing services became available to all who suffered regardless of origin. Human medical ships responded to crises across species lines. Their advanced capabilities could treat injuries and diseases previously considered untreatable. The only requirement was a request for assistance. This medical outreach built trust where diplomacy had previously failed. It demonstrated humanity's commitment to all life, not just human interests. The galaxy gradually learned to trust these unexpected guardians. Initial skepticism gave way to appreciation as the benefits became clear. Trade flourished where piracy had previously dominated. Research advanced through shared knowledge rather than protected secrets. Species that had viewed each other with suspicion now collaborated regularly. This trust developed through consistent demonstration of benevolent intention. Trade routes reopened under completely new protocols. Safety and sustainability replaced profit as primary considerations. Shipping lanes were redesigned to minimize environmental impact. Trading practices emphasized fair exchange rather than exploitation. These changes initially reduced trade volume, but increased long-term stability. The new system prioritized mutual benefit over individual gain. A new galactic vision emerged from this reorganization. The philosophy recognized that space contained enough resources for every civilization to thrive. Competition became unnecessary when cooperation provided better outcomes for all. This perspective transformed interstellar relations from zero-sum conflict to positive-sum collaboration. The galaxy began functioning as an integrated system, rather than a collection of competing interests. Approximately 1% of humans across all colonies began demonstrating capabilities that defied previous scientific understanding. These awakened individuals showed consistent patterns of enhanced perception and cognitive function. Medical monitoring stations recorded neural activity operating outside known biological parameters. The changes appeared simultaneously across populations separated by light years, indicating coordinated development rather than random mutation. Telepathic communication became the most common manifestation. Awakened humans could exchange complex information instantaneously across interstellar distances. This ability bypassed light speed limitations that constrained technological communication. The telepathy operated with perfect clarity, transferring thoughts and sensory data without distortion. It required no external technology or energy source, functioning through some form of conscious connection. Some individuals developed matter manipulation at quantum levels. They could influence physical reality through focused intention, without mechanical assistance. These abilities ranged from molecular rearrangement to energy field generation. The effects were measurable and consistent, following observable physical laws while operating through non-standard methods. This demonstrated that consciousness could interact directly with fundamental reality. Precognitive abilities emerged as another significant capability. Certain awakened humans could perceive potential futures with enough clarity to prevent conflicts before they started. This wasn't vague prediction but precise foresight of causal chains. They could identify decision points that would lead to undesirable outcomes and suggest alternatives. This preventive capability revolutionized security and diplomatic operations. Healing capacities developed that could repair biological damage, considered irreversible. These abilities worked at cellular and genetic levels, restoring function without scarring or tissue rejection. The healers understood biological systems with intuitive precision that surpassed medical technology. Their interventions complemented rather than replaced standard medical treatment, often achieving results impossible through conventional means. The abilities manifested according to individual potential and situational need. Not every awakened human developed the same capabilities. Some excelled at communication, while others showed strength in physical manipulation or healing. The pattern suggested conscious adaptation, rather than random distribution. The abilities aligned with each person's innate talents and the requirements of their environment. Training programs developed rapidly to help awakened humans control their new capabilities. These programs focused on precision, ethics, and integration with Zhengchang life. Trainees learned to activate their abilities consciously rather than reactively. The training emphasized responsibility and careful application of power. This structured approach prevented accidents and misuse while maximizing beneficial applications. The new abilities complemented rather than replaced technology and traditional skills. Humans continued using ships, computers, and tools alongside their enhanced capabilities. The psychic powers worked in synergy with technological systems, creating integrated solutions. This combination produced results greater than either approach could achieve separately. These capabilities represented the next conscious step in human evolution. They weren't random mutations but deliberate developments guided by ancestral wisdom. The Ascendi's intervention had unlocked genetic potential that had remained dormant for generations. This awakening followed patterns predicted in ancient human archives discovered on multiple worlds. The transformation showed that human evolution could be guided by conscious choice rather than random chance. Humanity had taken control of its developmental path through understanding and intention. This represented a fundamental shift in how species evolve and adapt to their environment. The awakening proved that consciousness could direct biological change purposefully. This evolutionary step created new possibilities for human civilization. It allowed humans to operate beyond previous physical and mental limitations. The capabilities enhanced exploration, discovery, and cooperation across species boundaries. They provided tools for addressing challenges that technology alone couldn't solve. Humanity's future would blend biological evolution with technological advancement in unprecedented ways. The awakening remained an ongoing process, rather than a completed transformation. New abilities continued to emerge as humanity adapted to its changed circumstances. The percentage of awakened humans gradually increased as the transformation spread through the population. This gradual pace allowed for careful integration and ethical development of these powerful capabilities. Commander Kane revealed the Ascendi's intervention followed precise cyclical timing. Humanity had reached critical population density and technological development, where external threats could cause irreversible collapse. This threshold triggered their protection protocols automatically, like a safety system activating when danger exceeds manageable levels. The response wasn't discretionary, but followed predetermined parameters established across multiple cycles. Their long-term strategy focused on guidance rather than control. The Ascendi provided frameworks for development while allowing humanity to make its own choices within those parameters. They offered knowledge and resources without dictating specific applications. This approach respected human autonomy, while ensuring survival through critical evolutionary phases. The balance prevented dependency while maintaining necessary safeguards. Intervention levels would decrease proportionally as humanity mastered its new capabilities. The Ascendi monitored progress through specific metrics measuring psychic integration and ethical development. Their withdrawal would occur in stages, each requiring demonstrated competence before further independence was granted. This gradual process ensured stability during the transition from protected species to self-sufficient civilization. The ultimate objective was humanity joining the Ascendi as equal participants in the cosmic cycle. This meant achieving similar states of consciousness and capability through natural development rather than external uplift. The Ascendi sought partners who had earned their place through independent growth and understanding. This ensured new members contributed unique perspectives rather than simply replicating existing patterns. This developmental process had repeated across multiple human civilization cycles. Archaeological evidence showed similar patterns on 12 different worlds spanning millions of years. Each iteration followed comparable evolutionary arcs with variations based on environmental factors and cultural choices. The cycles demonstrated both consistency in fundamental patterns and diversity in specific manifestations. Each new cycle incorporated lessons from previous iterations while maintaining unique characteristics. The Ascendi archives contained detailed records of successes and failures across all known cycles. This knowledge informed their guidance strategies without imposing rigid templates. They allowed each civilization to develop its distinctive qualities while avoiding previously documented pitfalls. Humanity's current awakening represented the most successful cycle recorded to date. The integration of technological and psychic development showed unprecedented harmony. The ethical framework emerging from this transformation balanced individual freedom with collective responsibility more effectively than previous cycles. This progress suggested humanity might achieve full ascension sooner than any previous iteration. The Ascendi maintained vast cosmic archives containing complete records of all cycles. These repositories held biological, cultural, and technological data from every human civilization that had reached the awakening stage. The archives served as both historical record and developmental resource for emerging cycles. Their preservation ensured no knowledge was permanently lost to time or catastrophe. The current plan demonstrated improved balancing of guidance with free will compared to previous cycles. The Ascendi had refined their approach based on analysis of earlier interventions. They provided clearer parameters while allowing greater autonomy within those boundaries. This evolution in their methodology reflected their own continuous development as a civilization. The cyclical nature of human development explained why protection appeared only when absolutely necessary. Premature intervention could stunt growth by removing necessary challenges. The Ascendi allowed humanity to face difficulties that fostered resilience and innovation. Their involvement began only when threats exceeded the species' capacity to adapt naturally. This long-term perspective transformed how humanity viewed its place in the cosmos. The realization that their development followed established patterns provided both comfort and challenge. It offered the security of known pathways while demanding responsibility for continuing the cycle successfully. This understanding would guide human decisions for generations to come. Other galactic species initially responded to humanity's transformation with profound fear and suspicion. Military forces across multiple empires elevated their alert status to maximum readiness. Intelligence agencies scrambled to understand the implications of humanity's new capabilities. Diplomatic channels experienced sudden silences as governments recalibrated their positions. The sudden shift in power dynamics created widespread uncertainty and anxiety throughout known space. Several advanced empires attempted to replicate humanity's awakening process within their own species. They launched massive research initiatives studying psychic phenomena and consciousness expansion. These programs invested tremendous resources into artificial triggering of enhanced abilities. The attempts consistently failed, often with catastrophic consequences for test subjects. Some initiatives caused permanent psychological damage to participants while yielding zero positive results. These spectacular failures confirmed humanity's unique position in the galactic ecosystem. The experiments demonstrated that human biology contained specific markers absent in other species. Genetic analysis revealed unique neural structures and energy resonance patterns in human DNA. This biological distinction explained why awakening remained exclusive to humanity despite extensive efforts to replicate it. The findings forced other civilizations to accept humanity's special status. Gradual appreciation for the stability humanity provided began replacing initial fear. Trade routes became completely secure under human protection. Pirate activity vanished from protected zones, allowing commerce to flourish without security costs. Shipping insurance rates dropped to historic lows across all protected regions. This economic benefit became impossible for practical-minded governments to ignore. Trade agreements underwent comprehensive renegotiation with human mediation. New contracts established equitable terms that benefited all parties involved. Previously exploited species gained fair compensation for their resources. Human oversight prevented the predatory practices that had characterized previous trade relationships. The new system created sustainable economic growth across multiple civilizations. Scientific knowledge sharing accelerated dramatically across previously secretive species. Research institutions began pooling their findings in open databases. Joint exploration missions became standard practice rather than rare exceptions. This collaboration produced breakthroughs in physics, medicine, and energy production. The free exchange of information benefited all participating civilizations equally. The galaxy entered a period of unprecedented cooperation and peace. Conflict resolution shifted from military confrontation to diplomatic negotiation. Disputes that would have previously led to warfare now found peaceful solutions. This transformation occurred through human facilitation and the demonstrated benefits of cooperation. The new stability allowed resources to flow toward development rather than defense. Humanity extended its protection to any species that embraced peaceful coexistence. The offer required no treaties, no concessions, no political alignments. The only condition was simple: threaten no one and enjoy the benefits of protected space. This open invitation transformed interstellar relations from adversarial to cooperative frameworks. Multiple previously isolated civilizations now engaged with the galactic community. The rules of engagement became clear and consistent across all protected zones. Any aggressive action would trigger immediate neutralization by the protection systems. Peaceful activities continued without restriction or interference. This clarity eliminated ambiguity and prevented accidental conflicts. The predictability created stable conditions for growth and exploration. This new galactic order represented a fundamental shift from previous eras of conflict. Power no longer derived from military strength or territorial control. Influence came through cooperation and contribution to collective well-being. The transformation redefined civilization advancement from domination to collaboration. This philosophical change would guide interstellar relations for generations to come. The reorganization created opportunities for species previously marginalized by galactic politics. Smaller civilizations could now develop without fear of predation or exploitation. Cultural diversity flourished under the protective framework. Artistic and scientific exchanges enriched all participating societies. The galaxy began functioning as an integrated system, rather than a collection of competing interests. The Morningstar incident became the defining moment that reshaped human galactic history. That single rescue operation triggered a chain reaction that would transform humanity's place in the cosmos. The data logs from that day remain the most studied event in anthropological archives, analyzed across thousands of academic institutions. Every aspect of the encounter has been documented, from the precise energy signatures of the protector vessels to the psychological profiles of every survivor. This comprehensive record provides the foundational understanding of humanity's protected status. Maya's rescue represented the critical spark that ignited humanity's collective awakening. Her unique psychic resonance during the event created the initial connection point for the emerging consciousness network. The moment she made contact with the protector entities established a template for future human-ascendi interaction. Her experience demonstrated that human consciousness could interface with advanced dimensional states without losing individual identity. This proof of concept enabled the systematic development of awakened capabilities across the population. The ship itself was preserved as a permanent monument at the coordinates of the rescue operation. Engineers stabilized the damaged vessel using advanced containment fields, maintaining its exact condition at the moment of rescue. The Morningstar now floats in space as a museum and pilgrimage site, accessible to visitors from all species. Its scarred hull tells the story of human vulnerability, while symbolizing the protection that followed. Tours through its corridors allow visitors to experience the exact conditions of that transformative event. Annual commemorations honor both the survivors and those who didn't live to see the resulting transformation. Ceremonies occur simultaneously across human colonies, synchronized through the Awakening Network. The events recognize the 42 crew members lost during the initial attack, alongside the millions who have benefited from the subsequent protection. These gatherings serve as reminders that progress often comes through sacrifice and crisis. The ceremonies maintain historical awareness while celebrating the advancements achieved. The story teaches subsequent generations about the fundamental relationship between vulnerability and strength. Educational programs use the Morningstar incident as primary curriculum for understanding human development. Students learn how apparent weakness can become strength when met with proper response and adaptation. The narrative demonstrates that protection and growth are complementary, rather than contradictory forces. This understanding shapes how new generations approach challenges and opportunities. It became the foundational narrative for human identity within the galactic community. The story provides context for humanity's unique protected status and special responsibilities. Other species study the incident to understand human psychology and behavior patterns. The event explains why humans value protection while resisting control, and why they extend guardianship to others. This shared understanding facilitates smoother interstellar relations and cooperation. The Protector's initial intervention is studied as the perfect example of measured crisis response. Military academies analyze the precision and restraint shown during the rescue operation. The incident demonstrates how overwhelming power can be applied with surgical precision to minimize collateral damage. Security forces use it as a model for hostage rescue and emergency response protocols. The operation's clean execution despite extreme pressure remains the gold standard for crisis Management military strategists teach the Morningstar event as the ultimate lesson in accounting for unexpected variables. The complete failure of Vorthon intelligence to predict the Protector response illustrates the limits of conventional threat assessment. The incident shows that technological superiority means nothing against capabilities that rewrite fundamental physics. This lesson has transformed military doctrine across all species, emphasizing adaptability over brute force. The incident demonstrated how single moments can permanently alter species-level trajectories. Historical analysts point to the Morningstar rescue as the precise turning point in human development. Before that moment, humanity was just another developing spacefaring species. Afterward, everything changed: our capabilities, our responsibilities, our very understanding of ourselves. This demonstrates how crisis moments can become catalysts for exponential growth. It remains the primary touchstone for understanding humanity's place in the cosmic order. Whenever new developments occur or challenges emerge, analysts return to the Morningstar data. The incident provides the reference point for measuring progress and evaluating new situations. Its lessons continue to guide human decision-making at both individual and species levels. The story maintains its relevance because it contains all the essential elements of humanity's transformed existence: vulnerability becoming strength, protection enabling growth, and crisis revealing destiny. Humanity's transformation represents evolution's deliberate expression rather than random chance. Every human-inhabited system now operates under protection that extends to all seeking peaceful coexistence. Our advanced capabilities focus on rescue operations, medical aid, and knowledge sharing across species boundaries. The barriers surrounding human space ensure security, while enabling free exploration and cultural exchange. This guardianship model has replaced previous systems of conflict and domination. Multiple civilizations now develop without fear of predation or exploitation. The galaxy functions as an integrated system where every species can thrive. Humanity's journey from protected to protector completes the cycle envisioned by our ancestors.